Okay, hey everybody, it's Robert Weichelt with EXP with my good friend Al, Coach. I can't wait to introduce this guy. He gives me the goosebumps every time we get together. He's just so inspiring. Before I get started, I want to kind of share with you, because this is a goals and actuals affirmations accountability call. My name is Robert Weichelt. I'm alive, excited, and full of energy. Yes, I sell 50 homes in 2021. I hold 10 active listings at all times. I am successful in following my schedule. I'm a loving, understanding father, husband, and team lead. I am calm, cool, and collect at all times. This business gets you a little bit excited, so it's easy to get a little, super excited, so stay calm. My mom always said to me, take 10 deep breaths. I attract 10 agents per month to the Weichelt Group, EXP Realty, because I am hiring. Those are my affirmations, and the last one and the favorite one is I am unstoppable. Yes. Those are my affirmations. I tell you what, I want to jump out of my chair and run around the block. I'm so pumped up.
I'm taking off right now.
every time I do my affirmations, I get so excited.
Right.
We talk about goals and actuals and how important those are, and we're going to talk about some of your stuff going on. But I'd like to start it off with a quote. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Winston Churchill. And that's why we're giving today. And Coach Al is with us today. Al, I tell you what, I've never been around somebody so positive, so exciting, and just such a pleasure, a great energy to be around. Let me give you just a quick snapshot for those folks at home watching this. Al has been in the business over 30 years as a full-time experienced real estate industry. He has the broker knowledge, experience, and guide. Basically, he works Orange County, Los Angeles County are your primary areas. You've consulted with individuals, institutional, corporate, high net worth real estate investors in the purchase and commercial and multi-residential properties. And on top of that, Coach Al, you're a coach for Tom Ferry, a business coach, but you're also, in my opinion, more important, you're a coach on our RevShare team. And let's go right into it. Coach Al, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, man. I got excited just listening to you. I got chills myself. Wanted to run out and get some contract signed. Well, I've been in business for 1990. I got my license, so a little bit right behind you. And I've been I've seen a lot of changes in the real estate business. I personally have been a producer. I ran a team back when a TC and a marketing rep was not known. I worked with builders. I worked for some time, for about 8 years with Marcus and Millichap. So I represented clients in the apartment residential and commercial properties. I've owned, I ran a REO team as well. A lot of experience, probably sold about a couple hundred REOs myself. And I've also owned a RE/MAX. So, I've been a broker, owner, mentor, as well. So all that background has enabled me to have a lot of experience and being able to work with, mentoring and coaching, not only just individual agents, but teams and brokerages as well. And, through all that, I have a passion to help agents and help teams in this business because, the product is one thing, right? The real estate itself is one thing, but the motivating factor, the mentoring, from getting to close a couple of deals to get them to where they're closing 30, 40, 50 deals, empowers me. Nothing better than me leaving this world and having some coaching clients or agents that I work with in my team say, hey, because of Al, I was here, I was there. And so what I do now basically is I coach for Tom. I've been coaching for about almost 4 years. And, I coach individual experienced agents to teams to brokers. And I coach twice a week, maintain about 30 clients. And the rest of the time, I am an EXP broker, okay? Developing my own team, recruiting, attracting agents like you. Yes, my primary area is LA and Orange County, but like us, right? Like with EXP, one of the benefits, we'll talk about it later, is that, we can recruit, motivate anywhere. And with my talents and skills of being able to motivate and coach agents through the Tom Ferry organization from Seattle, Washington, Florida, Kentucky, Texas, that gives me the ability to coach and develop agents for my own team, regardless of where they're at in the country, in the world now. Right. So,
you know what? I tell you what, it's an amazing feeling reaching out to agents, because before our business was really focusing on area of somebody that within driving distance of your brick and mortar office. Now, what EXP has done is allowed us to basically branch out globally, which is a phenomenal experience in itself. But I appreciate your being on today. I wanted to get right into some of the questions for the folks at home. The first one I have is, because you do a lot of goals and actuals, and you do a lot of goal setting. Can you touch on the importance of obviously setting goals, setting actuals, and actually measuring those, but actually the goal setting portion of it? Go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, there's a play, a game, a play. What do you call it? A game that from a playbook is coaching, and there's a couple of areas that you focus on. Number one is the mindset. Okay, the mindset skills is the other. We get into projects, developing a marketing strategy. Then we get into basically the tracking and measuring. Okay, the accountability part. Okay, but a lot of the stuff doesn't work unless your mind is set correct. So a lot of times when I get a new coaching client, we spent maybe 2 coaching calls on just the big whys, the mindset. Okay, I ask them specifically, what do you listen to in the mornings? Where's your mind? What's going on between the 6 to 8 inches between your ears? What are you thinking? What are you listening to? What's your exercise routine like? And so we get into that. And if we're not really doing that, we start working on that. And if possible, we created some type of accountability system that will help them get there. And the other thing I found out too is that whenever we're coaching and we have clients that get to a rut or through a bad spell or have a couple of bad situations that happen. I mean, every year we're going to have deals that fall apart. We're going to have clients that maybe side with another agent, a family member, something that kind of, really puts us in a negative mood. Okay. And when I see people get into that situation, those who have strong affirmations, those who have gratitudes and a good mindset can bounce that off much easier. Okay. And those that don't are the ones that get, turned in. So whenever they have a situation like that, I go, hey, where's your mindset? Well, have you been listening to your tapes? Have you done your affirmations? It's hard to be grateful for the things you have and be depressed about a situation that fell apart. The mind can't be both places. So we work on that. So occasionally through coaching, as I coach clients for a couple of years now, that's an important part, because even we as coaches fall apart. Okay, we need motivated. I need you. I need to listen to you in the morning, right, to get me motivated, because we're human. We fall off. So behind all that, though, there's got to be a big why. Okay.
You know what you said, the biggest thing.
The big why is what really ignites the whole thing, because I bring people back to the big why. And the big why is so important, but yet so vague and so hard for people to come up with. When I ask them, what is why are you doing this? They go, well, I want to be financially independent. I want my kids not to worry, my wife not to worry, or my husband not to worry. And well, everybody wants that, but can you be more specific? And so I start knocking it down by well, what's that look like? How much money is that going to take? Because that's not the motivating factor, but that's the vehicle we have to use, right? So how much money will that take? And we kind of get a figure. Well, if I'm making, 300, 400,000 GCI a year, that will do great. That's measurable. Let's knock it down now and break it down by how many deals we got to close. Let's knock it down by how many calls we got to make, how many appointments, how many listens we got to take. And once we have that down, now it's measurable. Okay, great. So whenever we're not doing the calls, whenever we fall apart, whenever we're not motivated, we're not listening to our affirmation, I go, remember what you're doing this for. Okay, this is not going to happen unless we close these many deals in the next 2 or 3 years.
You know what? I love it. You know what? And just so we're clear, I'm taking so many notes. I don't know if you can see this. I'm taking amazing notes. So yeah. I recommend those of you that are watching this, get out your notepad, nice clean slate, and just start jotting notes down, because we've got Coach Al here, Mike Ferry coach, but also one of our RevShare coaches. You can meet with him. He's got office hours in our team suite. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you talked about your why and your mindset. And that's why, Al, we do these every single Monday morning, 8 o'clock Pacific time.
Right.
Because it's mandatory. You get your week started off right, and I'm telling you what, the momentum takes you through the week. And it's just, in my opinion, and what I've been learned, I've trained, and I firmly believe that if you start your week off on the right foot, it just takes you through the momentum, and I love it. So, and the other thing is about some of the whys. What is your why? And really drill that down.
Right.
A lot of people think, oh, I want to make this much money, or I want to do this. Why? I want this car. I want this thing. Material goals are fine, but why? What is your why? Whether it be your family, the kind of car you want, the kind of home you want, the kind of lifestyle you want. Why? And I think that's huge, huge, huge. So thank you for that. Next topic, I want to talk about time blocking and game planning. So we've got our goals. How are we going to get there? What's the roadmap that you tell your customers and your clients?
Right.
You've got your goals. You've identified them. Now, how are you going to get there?
Right. And one of the reasons why clients sign up with Tom Ferry is because they want to be more accountable, and they want to control their time. And the biggest areas that we work with clients is developing the habits of a top producer. Okay. One of the things that after the Tom Ferry Summit, the annual big event, okay, Bill Pipes got together with all coaches. We had a one-on-one post summit, and we had all these speakers. These speakers that were making $300, $500, $2 million GCI. Okay. And Tom goes, you notice one thing that these guys had common that the rest of the agents did not have? And they go, no, that they still made their calls. They took more no's. Their ego was not involved. Okay. We had people knocking on doors up north that made $2 million GCI, and they still knocked on the door. Okay. So they did the things that developed the habits that the rest of the agents don't do, regardless where they're at. And, then they also have time blocking. They understand that they have to control their time. So time blocking is important. We work on that because many agents can't say no. Many agents have their clients run them and their business. Okay. And teaching them how to be disciplined and respecting and drawing a line of their time. Okay, as we block those times. So you got to have time in the morning for your affirmations and your mindset and your meds, right? Then you have times for servicing the clients at these times. You set the hours ahead of time. So one of the tips we have is that the expectations of the client. When you sign a new client, Tuesdays and Thursdays is the days that if you have any questions regarding your property, the marketing, these are the days that we will get back with you. Unless the house is burning or something's very serious, I'll return your call right away. So setting the expectations for the time for the clients works well. And then setting the times these are the times that I'm going to, of course, prospect, right? And then these are the times that I'm going to have for appointment time. And if there's no appointment time, there are appointments in that time block session, then we'll use it to make more calls. And then in the section of the actual prospecting, which lead sources are we going after? What lead sources are you going to call during that time? So having that definite block, and it takes time. Okay, it's not like I've got a time block schedule and it's going to be perfect now. Okay, one of the things I really go by is progress, not perfection. Okay. If you're doing 80% of the time blocking schedule versus no time blocking at all, you're much better off than you were before and much better than most of the agents out there. Okay, so time blocking and developing the habit of using a time block schedule, it takes time. We call it the first year of coaching is the foundation. Okay, because you're establishing, changing new habits that you're not used to, and time blocking is a huge habit builder, and it takes time. So
it does. You know what? And what I just wrote so many things down, and I wanted to kind of coattail on what you're saying. Is the calendar? The way I look at a calendar is a time blocking schedule that from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep. What are you doing? Whether it's personal growth, business growth, what are you doing? Second, a calendar, a time block schedule is to get you back on track. For instance, when that client calls you, like you mentioned, hey, my house is burning down, you're going to take that call, whether you're prospecting or whatever you're doing,
Right.
you're going to take that call because of your commitment to your client. But when that issue is handled, you're going to look back down at your time block schedule and go, oh, got it. This is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be prospecting, or I'm supposed to be doing this, whatever's on your schedule. And it serves as a reminder of where you need to get back to. That's what I use my time block schedule. So it's between the times you wake up and the time you go to bed, Monday through Sunday. So it's super important. I mean, if you want a day off, time block it and call it off. We need our downtime, but you need to time block even your downtime. I time block date night with my wife, Friday night, 7 o'clock, it's date night.
You know, that's so important because, you know, that's an area that I just totally forgot. I go put in the family time and the me time first. That's important because that's the whole reason. I go block that time out. Now let's work with the rest of the time. Yeah. Okay. And that way, when you're there with the family, you're not feeling like most agents, they feel guilty that you should be making calls, right? And then if they're working the business, they're guilty they didn't spend time with their family. But when a time block schedule is done correctly and you spent the time, you know, and make it effective with family, personal time, and business, it's a much better feeling. And again, progress, not perfection. It's not going to be perfect, but a time block schedule that you follow is better than nothing at all.
Amen. Amen. And you know what? A time blocking schedule we talked about. So game planning, and the way I look at game planning is you have to have a roadmap. I mean, you and I could just throw our backpacks on and walk to New York. But if we don't have a roadmap to get there, it's going to take us a while. Does that make sense? Yeah. So my point in game planning is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Right. So let's expand on game planning a little bit.
Game planning. You know, there's so many playbooks that there's a playbook that we use a lot of plays that work really well. You know, the basics, okay, the basics. Bottom line is, this is what I tell my clients. I go, the bottom line is, you know, we're talking about your meds. We're talking about your motivation. We're talking about time blocking schedule. We're talking about developing a new marketing strategy. We're going after GeoFarm, okay? You know, what's your strategy for the year? How many postcards? And, you know, how are you going to be effective in that area? And then we talk about skill set, right? So, you know, many clients going up to bat, that's great. If you go up to bat as a baseball player, you're taking swings, okay? But if you're sitting on the bench, you're taking no swings. So if you're taking swings, then I can coach you. In other words, you're making the calls, okay? Now, as a baseball coach, right, if you're taking swings at the ball, he's going to figure out what you're doing, how you hold the bat. It's called skill set. So we figure out, okay, you're making all these calls, but, you know, you're not making any appointments. Let's role play. Tell me what you're saying when you open your mouth. Let's go through that, okay? So we work on skill set. So the bottom line is that regardless of all these things in real estate, social media, and marketing strategies, and, you know, and a listing presentation, if you're not talking to enough people each week, okay, based on what your goal is, nothing's going to happen. So a basic play is basically making sure you make contacts every week, regardless. Let it be old clients, let it be past clients, new people each week. So that's the basics, okay? You know what is making contact every week with new people, and you will be, even if you're the worst closer, the worst presenter, you will get lucky, get some deals.
Absolutely. And you know what? Goals and actuals tie right into the game planning, where tracking your numbers is so key. You know, for instance, number of days you're going to work, what is your goal, and what is your actual? Keep track of your goals and actuals on a weekly basis. You know, total hours of prospecting.
Tracking and measuring is so important because it's like, there's an example. Let's say a bunch of kids are shooting hoops at a basketball court. Everybody's showing off their moves and stuff, right? But as soon as the coach comes in and, you know what, we're going to keep score, see who does, you know, who can score more. It gets quiet. Okay, so accounting, you know, tracking and measuring and being accountable is another basic play. I mean, it's basic. That's a play that you have to do all the time. And the accountability part is important too. I don't know if you wanted to get into that, but
yes, please.
You know, how do we create accountability? We got internal accountability that, you know, you have your disciplines, you're going to make the calls, you make the calls, right? And then you have external accountability. You have somebody, a coach holding you accountable. You say you're going to make 100 calls, make 3 appointments. What happened? Okay. And that's the toughest part for a lot of people too, is that they want the accountability, but yet when they start being accountable, they don't like it. And I usually let clients go through their own internal, but if it doesn't work, I go, we've tried your plan. It didn't work. Let's try a different plan. So 2 motivating factors for accountability that we work with. Either it's going to be pleasure or it's going to be pain. And pain is 2.5 more times a motivator than pleasure, right? I'm going to close these deals so I can buy a second home, right? If I get the second home, well, I'll maybe get it next year, right? Or, you know what? I've got to close these 3 deals or my mortgage payments fall behind. All right? So we find what motivates them. It's going to be pleasure or if it's going to be pain, okay? I have an example. I have 4 clients that are writing checks to agents in their office or people that they hate. They wrote a check dated December 31st, 2021, and some of these for $5-6 grand, saying that if I don't close 50 deals, 60 deals, that person's going to cash that check. And I'm telling you, man, these people, I go, if they're scared, they're sweaty, the thought of them giving that check away to that person. So if it makes you sweat, makes you shake, then it's good. That's accountability.
Amen, brother. Well, you know what? I tell you what, we've talked about a lot of great stuff, Coach. And I'll tell you what, we've talked about goal setting. We've talked about how important it is to have the goals and actuals, the affirmations and accountability, how important that is. We talked about time blocking, game planning. And I tell you, let me just tell you some of my takeaways before we do some closing remarks. My big takeaways today are more no's. So many people are so afraid of being told no, where they literally, I know agents that have worked on my team that I've coached, that they made a couple of calls and got 3 no's in a row and they just stopped doing it. I'm like, you may get 97 no's and the last 3 yeses, and that's what's going to count. So you get those 3 yeses, and next time it might be the first 3 calls, and it might be in the middle next time. But you know that if you don't track and measure your numbers, you're not going to know that. So more no's. That means more swings at the plate.
Right.
Tony Gwynn, I have him in my, you see him in my background. He was my favorite baseball player of all time. The guy took his hacks. He took his chances. He hit the ball, and he was the best baseball player, in my opinion, on the planet. But he had to get, you got to take the at-bats.
Yeah.
So you need more no's. Get the ego out of the way. I've always had this philosophy, and I've told agents, because they come in all confident, and you like that confidence, but you want to make sure that you check your ego at the door. And we have this little imaginary trash can in front of the office, where that's where your ego goes. So if you want it, when you leave, you can take it home with you, but don't bring it into the office, because we are egoless. We don't play the ego thing.
Right.
But the tracking and measure is my biggest takeaway. Track your numbers, measure the numbers so you can make your in-flight adjustments. Because you know what, guys, at the end of the day, and the reason why we do these calls is success leaves clues. Don't try to learn it on your own. Learn it from a coach, Al. Learn it from me. Learn it from the folks that have been there, done that. So, Al, with that said, closing remarks. What would you like to tell the audience a little bit about maybe some nuggets that they can take away today and go apply immediately?
You just brought that up, tracking and measuring, okay? Knowing your batting average. Clients, well, how many calls should I make? How many appointments should I make? I don't know. We never tracked and measured, but once we track and measure for 6 months, I know exactly what our batting average is, okay? And now we can base it off of that. So tracking and measuring your numbers. Perfection, progress, not perfection. So if you set out to make 50 deals or close 50 deals this year, it's not going to be perfect, okay? You're going to get there. So progress, not perfection. Don't worry if you set out to do a time block schedule and you hit 50% in the beginning, okay? It's okay. We're going to get the 80, 90% as we go by, but you're working towards changing a habit. Having a perfect mindset to bounce off any negative vibes, any negative situations. Bill Pipe says, nothing motivates a strong discipline and a strong confidence and strong skill set as well.
Coach Bill Pipes is absolutely phenomenal. I love that guy.
Right.
He was my first coach back way
Yeah.
back when. And oh man, I just
Yeah.
talk about getting somebody fired up. That guy's amazing. He'll be
And
on
talking
this.
to, again, the more people you talk to each week, the better mindset you're going to have. Okay. If you have 2 or 3 deals fall apart, I go, what's your pipeline look like? It looks pretty good right now. Don't worry about it. But if it looks weak because you're not calling people, then a pipeline, anything that happens is going to really knock you down, depress you even more.
Well, amen. Well, I appreciate you jumping on. We're just about out of time. Any last comments? Any last words of wisdom from Coach Al?
I said it all, I think.
You know what?
Is affirmations and gratitudes in the morning. It's so important.
Yeah.
And associating yourself with people that you want to be at and go up to.
Amen, brother.
Associating
Amen.
yourself
Well, I
with the right
appreciate
people.
it.
Exactly.
I appreciate you being on. Next time, tune in every single Monday at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a nice special guest, Coach Al. I mean, it's going to be hard to fill those shoes, man. I've set the bar so high. It's my
Sure.
guest is not able to compete.
A lot of great people out there.
Yeah. So every Monday, 8 o'clock, goals and actuals, accountability. That's really the talk of conversation. But we're going to bring in some of the best coaches around the country, some best real estate minds, title escrow affiliates, some of those folks. But our real estate industry, stay fired up. And I would recommend, I would go to buildingupagents.com, buildingupagents.com, and check out our website, check out Coach Al's video. And I'll tell you that this has been a fantastic time. This is Robert Weichelt with EXP. I want to thank you for jumping on, and we'll be here every single Monday. Everybody have a great day.